Okay, so today's video is going to be about American Horror Story Season 11. So it's taken me a while to watch Season 11, only due to the fact that I watched 10 minutes of it, I think it was last year, and I thought it was boring because I didn't actually know the plot and what it was about. I just thought it was a bit boring. So basically, Season 11, NYC, is basically about the AIDS pandemic that started in New York in the 80s. And this follows the story of a group of people who are gay. Some of them are not gay, but they're associated with people that are gay. And it's a really, really good, season. I really wish I gave it a chance to watch it, basically, because I probably would have been interested in it. But it follows a story of a group of people that associate with, the AIDS pandemic. It follows a couple, a woman that's married to this gay guy, and she doesn't know he's gay until he, leaves her and meets this guy, basically. She gets sick, and no one knows what this thing is that's killing people off. People were coming to the doctor's surgery, who Hannah works in, and Hannah's a doctor, and she starts reporting all like these weird, symptoms that people are having, like skin rashes, like stomach flu, stuff like, all sorts of things that are really weird. She later finds out that this virus is actually related to this island where the people were getting tested on with via transmission of ticks, who actually carried this virus. And these people were like there just to be test subjects, basically. And it just made them like really ill and die. And you later find out that this virus, they don't actually know about the AIDS virus until the last episode, basically, where you see Gino, who is a reporter. He's with Patrick, who's in the police in New York City as a detective. And they find out later on that it is actually HIV/AIDS that's actually killing people. But before they find all this out, there's actually a guy going around called the Mai Tai Killer who buys guys drinks and in bars. It's got drugs in them, and he dismembers them, basically. He uses their parts to build a guy that is for the gay community. This is what he's saying. And it's just really weird. He dies, basically, because Patrick shoots him. And then later on, Barbara dies. She's in the shower and she sees Big Daddy. Big Daddy is a manifestation, or a manifestation of the AIDS pandemic. But you think all the way through it, you think that Big Daddy is a person going around killing people, but there's things like, when people like literally walking past him and you're like, oh my god, he could have grabbed that person, and he doesn't. She dies. You don't know what she died of, but you can kind of guess what she died of because her partner was gay. And then Hannah, who is a doctor, she actually, unfortunately, she gets struck with this virus as well, because a friend of hers but they both suggest it, that she should have a baby with him. He's unfortunately got the the HIV virus. Then they both start coming down. They both find out that their T cells, their red blood cells are just low, and because she's a doctor, she's like on it, sort of thing. She unfortunately dies because she keeps like passing out. Then you follow a guy called Sam. Sam is like a bachelor. He's got lots of money. He's like a boss. People just don't want to mess with him, basically. He's not the sort of person to mess with. And he's actually got a boyfriend called Theo, who actually dies as well. So Sam's actually carrying the virus, I think, because of someone he went with, and he obviously doesn't know until the end. Like later on, when he's dying of it, Theo, because he's passed away before this, Theo takes him around the hospital and shows him all like the victims that Sam's like, he's put them in that position because he's infected them, basically. And then the last place he takes him is his actual his actual room, and he watches himself basically die of this horrible virus. And before that, he does say to Theo, I'll pay whatever, just kill me basically. And he said basically, no amount of money will cure you. This is your end basically. You got to face it. Patrick dies as well, which is, I think, quite honestly, Patrick's is the saddest, because you literally see what it was probably like, in real life for the AIDS victims basically. There was a so horrible death that took place over the course of 10 years. So yeah, his was, I thought, was really saddest bit, because it looked like it was, it was quite realistic, because he just died really slowly, and his partner was next to him, and towards the end he couldn't see, he went blind. His partner Gino had to feed him, and he couldn't even eat solid stuff. He had to give him applesauce. And then later on you see Gino literally fighting for his life. He's taking his medication, which I think was in the 1990s, or I think it was 1992 or something like that, is when they started having medication for this. Obviously there was no cure for it, but they had medication to try and slow it down, to give you a better life expectancy, because this literally in the 80s was a death sentence. You had it, there was no cure, and it didn't it wasn't straight away as well. This thing, it took years to develop into the final stages of AIDS. So with Gino, I thought it was quite realistic with him, because I think he met Patrick in the 80s, and it wasn't until, which I thought was really weird, until 1991 was when he was actually being stalked constantly. He was taking his medication. I think he was taking chemotherapy for it as well. Because he was fighting it. He was seeing everyone around him dying of this virus, and he found out in the end that what it was. He was doing loads of protests and demonstrations and stuff like that on the street about it. And so yeah, he 1991. I thought because he died in 1991 in the film, in the series, I thought it was like a little nod to Freddie Mercury, because obviously Freddie Mercury went through this, and he did this on his own, well, with family members. He didn't want to tell the public about this, so I reckon in the 1980s is when he caught it, because obviously Freddie Mercury was, everyone liked him basically, and he did go with a lot of people. And it wasn't until 1991 was when Freddie Mercury passed away. So I thought, that was an actual nod to Freddie, and there was a couple of pictures in there of people with tashes and things like Freddie Mercury had. So I thought maybe that was a nod to Freddie Mercury and that. But yeah, it was a really, really good season. And then we got season 12 coming up, which I don't even know what it's about. I know it's called Delicate, and it's got Kim Kardashian in it. Oh, I really don't want to see her, because she just winds me up. Something rotten, especially what she did to Marilyn Monroe's dress. So but yeah, this was a really, really good. This was good season. It's one of them ones that are educational as well, because if you didn't know about this, how this started, it's it's like an eye opener for you, sort of thing. And that's what I like about Ryan Murphy. He always does his research and that before he does these American Horror Stories. Like in Hotel, he actually used a place called, it was based on Hotel Cecil, and things were happening in the hotel just like it was in Hotel in American Horror Story. And he basically on, I don't know what episode it was, but he had Devil's Night, and that was actually had some of the actual killers, in real life, like the Night Stalker, like John Wayne Gacy, Eileen Wuornos, whatever her name is, and obviously Jeffrey Dahmer. So yeah, he's really, I just love American Horror Story. It's just amazing.